Hello, my friends, and thank you, Bravehearts. Today, I'm going to show you around our new, completely off-grid homestead. And then I'm going to share with you a feature film that is going to change the world. With your help and with the help of people from all over the world, we have the strategy dialed in to create, at least in general terms, peace on earth. Right now, it's starting to rain a little bit, but the pavers are going in, and I'll show you a couple other things real quick. We are getting our doors tomorrow. We've been living in a house without doors, which is kind of funny because it includes the bathrooms. And this is going to be our kitchen for our Braveheart studio, where we take the food and production from the land and we come in here and we create incredible food on the plate. We're getting our table here, our chairs, literally, they're in the boxes in the garage, and our table's coming in about a week or two. And then this is our main living room area. All right, looks like a beautiful rainy day out there. All right, so now I'm going to go into my office, and this is a script that has been kind of calling to me now for at least 5 years, really a lot more than that, but for 5 years, this script has been saying, Jim, this is probably one of the most biggest and catalyzing pieces of the freedom puzzle. All right, so I'm going to read it to you. Now, we're breaking all of the Hollywood rules here. First of all, I'm going to share with you a most inspiring ending, and it is going to compel you even more to want to watch the film. Basically, I'm going to share the whole film with you right here because it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to humanity. And I mean that in the most profound ways that I can conceive of. This film is a collaboration. It is the bringing togetherness of all of the things that I have learned from nature and from the Permaculture Network and from the Bravehearts and from all of you into a strategic visual document that is, to my awareness, the most succinct, concise, inspiring, and empowering document, well, at least done in this way, right? There's the Bible, and there's all sorts of good books that lay it out in ways that can be kind of divisive to some and kind of confusing to others. Well, you know what? I'm going to quit talking and I'm going to start reading. And I invite you to be the judge of what you're hearing and perceiving. And then, well, I'll get more into the and then at the end. Right? So the first screen is a black screen. And for those of you who have seen The Matrix, you remember there's typing, right? On the black screen, white text fades in slowly, one line at a time. It says, "This is a work of fiction. None of this is true." Which will make people go, I wonder why they'd say that. Maybe some of it is true. Yeah, it's all true. Then the distant sound of bird song and a faint sunlight seeps in. Not morning light, but the golden farewell of the day. The horizon glows with an amber fire. The lake shimmers. And the setting is Galt's Landing here, where we're overlooking a private 430-acre lake at the end of a road surrounded by nature. Catching the last light like a sheet of moving glass, trees stretch long shadows over the rich soil. The sky above burns soft orange, magenta, and fading indigo. Cranes glide over in silhouette. The light dapples through the rich food forests, teeming with diversity. Mango, guava, peach, fig, citrus trees, all interwoven with flowering plants, climbing beans, and bursts of lavender and calendula. The forest breathes as the earth exhales. Galt's Landing, sunset. A dew-soaked food forest comes to life. Sunlight filters through the leaves, butterflies flutter between the flowers, chickens cluck, and a cow lowing in the distance. Wide shot, right? Lush greenery, fruits dripping from the branches. It's vibrant, it's alive. Camera tracks slowly behind the barefoot feet, patting down a mulch patch. John Galt, in his 40s, grounded, radiant, walks hand in hand with his two daughters, who burst with wonder. His daughter Sophia says, "Daddy, Daddy, check it out." She tugs him forward, laughter in her voice. They weave through banana trees, under arching vines. They push aside a large leaf, emerge into a stunning sunlit clearing. Eric and Chris and two others are planting a fruit tree. Mushroom blocks stacked beside the compost pile. The lake shimmers beyond them like glass. Sandhill cranes fly again overhead, and their wide wings catching the sunlight as they glide into the flames. As they pass, they call out long, resonant cries that echo across the lake like ancient music, wild and haunting. The moment feels sacred. Their voices threading the sky with a soft sound of mournful and miraculous. Camera floats, children planting seeds, cows grazing peacefully. And then John Galt calls out, "How's everyone doing?" He turns, seeing his wife across the clearing, collecting seeds into a woven basket. He walks towards her, eyes soft. They meet. He wraps his arms around her gently, holding her close. She sinks into his embrace. No words, just warmth, just home. Andrea, Galt's wife, smile falters slightly as she glances towards the edge of the forest, the road beyond, right? Something I think we built Eden in a world that doesn't want it. That's why we built it, John Galt says, to remind them it's possible. Dialogue overlaps with calm, passionate updates. Eric says, "We laid out the mimosa and the mycelium's already running." A woman says, got perennial peanuts spreading across the contour beams. It's very interesting. As I feel emotions creep in, sometimes I forget to read it as a script. The camera closes in on hands spreading mulch, tossing seeds, laughter as kid trips into and rolls into the soil. The daughters run off, skipping joyfully. Daughter Sophia calls out over her shoulder, grinning widely. Daughter Sophia, "I'm going into the treasure hunt. I'm going on a treasure hunt for nature's candy." She skips across the field, weaving between the wild flowers. As she crests over a small rise, the sunset paints her silhouette in gold. Her voice echoes firmly like a song, joining the music of the cranes. Galt's Landing, Banana Grove, moments later. A man dangles lazily upside down from a thick mango tree. Knees locked around the branch, arms swinging, long hair hanging in the vines. His shirt says, "Let's plant seed. Let the plants speak." A small group of children giggle nearby, whispering, "He lives in the trees. No, he is a tree." The man slowly opens his eyes, grinning. "Chimpanzee. You all ever noticed Mangoes don't grow upside down. We do. The kids burst out laughing. Think about it. We're the only species planting lawns instead of lunch. He flips down and lands softly on the mulch, barefoot and beaming. Chimpanzee, now who wants a mango pancake? The children's run off in a communal fire. Moments later, past near Galt's daughters around holding a peach glowing in the sun. Daughter Sophia, Daddy, this is the first peach off the new peach tree near the front gate. She holds it high like a treasure. The golden peach catches the last rays of the sunset, and behind her, the lake glows molten hues. Reflecting fire across the sky, he silhouettes framed by the light, and the pause is witness to this offering. John Galt says, "That's incredible, kiddo." They laugh. Even the animals follow curiously, cows, chickens, and ducks. She holds it. Daughter says to John, "Have a bite." Galt takes the peach, a pause, reverent. He takes the bite. Into Galt's body, a visual sequence, a rush of color, enzymes swirl, blood cells brighten, trauma dissipates, flash to childhood joy and laughter. The sweet aroma of the peach lifts upward into the golden tendrils, into his nostrils. Molecules of scent lighting a dormant concern in his mind. Memory stirs, neurons spark, the taste and the smell together awaken some primal, innocent, and ancient moment of healing. His eyes close, the breath catches in his throat, the taste lingers. Not just on his tongue, but in his bone, in his spirit. His face softens as if 1,000 memories whisper back through the time. He opens his eyes, glistening now. He looks at the peach like a sacred artifact. And he is remembering something that he never knew he forgot. That life can be in this good, in this true, this self-evident. She bites next, locks eyes, pure joy. Fate, now the camera fades to the sun dipping over the lake, slow and golden. Camera tracks upward towards the last ray of the sun, which becomes a silver star. Pan out to reveal a row of 5 stars on a general's shoulder. He's in the war room, the military briefing room, and it's nighttime. And next you hear bang on the desk. A fist slams a stack of papers onto the desk. General Harrington is speaking, holding the phone up to his ear. He says, "But sir, if we don't take them out now, they'll destroy everything we've built." General Ed is in his 60s. He's overweight, jowled, a Churchill-like stature, with a permanent scowl and stiff gait. His uniform strains slightly at the buttons. His face flushed from years of bourbon and buried rage. He stands in a sterile military briefing room lit by flickering fluorescence. Actually, we're going to make that blue light. The smell of scotch, the sweat lingering in the cold air. A wall of monitors glows behind him, looping drone footage of John Galt giving a talk, a tour, barefoot and smiling, surrounded by food, family, and friends. The general says, "But sir, if we don't take them out now, they'll destroy everything we built." On the scene behind him, on the screen, Galt places a seed into a child's hand, laughter and applause. And then the president comes in the scene. The general is speaking to the president. The president says, "General, do not touch them." The scene goes into the Oval Office, intercut. The president in his 50s looks like Kennedy. Kennedy's energy, vision, calm, under siege, speaks from behind his desk, gripping a glass of scotch as well. The president sternly, but concern in his eyes, said, "Ed," speaking to the general, "do not touch John or his land or his people." His brow is drawn tight. Besides the resolve in his voice, a flicker of dread. His knuckles white on the glass of the scotch. Harrington, tense, eyes dark, they're growing too fast, he says to the president. "We can't stop them with words." Harrington's voice faced and flushed, his jowls quivering slightly, his mouth twitches with resentment. He leans in towards the camera, fire in his stare. "President," the president says, actually, "if we harm him, his message will explode like wildfire. Censor him you must, but do not engage." The president's jaws locked behind the statesman's mask, a man grasping for control as his world shifts beyond his reach. Click, the call ends. The military mess hall continues. So now it goes into the military mess hall. Fluorescent glare, stainless trays clatter. It's the cafeteria. And the line trudges forward. Soldiers silent and sunken. On a tray, pale mashed potatoes, beige protein block, syrup fruit cups, and rubbery bread puck. A young soldier stares at it, forks stab into the meat, and it doesn't break. The soldier sighs, he eats anyway. A young private looks up from his phone, quoting Goethe or Goethe. "None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free." The others fall silent. Back to the briefing room. Return. Harrington lowers his foam, still pours himself a finger of whiskey. He stares at it. Reaching for the white pill bottle, he takes a pill. Close up, the tension in his jaw, the hollow in his eyes. He watches the screen behind him. Galt again, voice muted, smiling and respected. Harrington says, "That should be me." He clutches his glass. Suddenly, flashes of a memory. Flashback. The scene behind closed doors. In an opulent parlor, it's nighttime in the 50s. Dimly lit mahogany walls, velvet curtains, a candle flickers behind a crystal decanter. A young Harrington, 8 years old, sits alone on a tufted leather couch, small hands clasped tightly. In the text, two figures cast in a partial shadow sit on a long table. It's Margaret Singer in her 50s, sharp-eyed, a chilling calmness leaps through a thick document. She's sitting with William Gates Sr., right? Remember, this is all fiction. Stately, severe, pours himself a drink. Sanger says, the numbers don't lie. The population curve is suicide. Gates Sr., especially in the lower strata, the drain is exponential. Back to Sanger. We need to start in the womb. We need to control the birth rate. We sterilize through food and medicine. One sec. Oh. Hey, thanks, brother. I'm doing a live stream to a few thousand people. Buena vida, man. Thank you. Hi, Sophie. Come on in. Oh, you know what? Go through the back door and use the wipe off on the side, okay? Thank you, beautiful. Life in the off-grid food forest in construction. This is the reality of it, my friends. Oh, man, that was a break. I was getting emotional anyway. So what do you think? Is this film, do you see it? Do you feel where it's going? This film is going, and I'm not going to read the whole script because, well, I'm not doing it justice by reading it. And it is intended to catalyze a shift in awareness that leads to mass adoption of stewardship, of collaboration, of organizing effectively, of using our resources wisely. So I will get more into it here. We need to start in the room. We need to sterilize through food, medicine, culture, quietly. We need to create quiet weapons for this silent war. Hello, I'm back. I thought I turned on the do not disturb, but I just got a call. Anyway, here I am. So you see what's going on here. What we are laying out in fictional terms, right? None of this is real, is the strategy to control the minds of men and women, to control the population through deception and ignorance and insanity. And we are contrasting this war narrative with the truth of the matter. That abundance, faith, courage, collaboration, God's design, nature, solves all of it. So I'll get into it a little bit more and then we'll skip forward. There's so much going on now. It's really kind of a massive chaos of people working all over the place here, which I'm so thankful for, my friends. Bravehearts, I'm going to skip to the final scene and the middle stuff. It's so epic. And I'll stop in a few places to read. At one point, an agent from the government comes and John Galt inspires the agent. And the agent has a series of epiphanies, of grand awakenings. And he says, while your world builds empires of steel and fear, we grow food, we share it, we live by trust. You think freedom is dangerous? I think forgetting who you are, who we are, is more dangerous. The agency you represent, it's lost any perceived moral authority. Drive up and down the road and count the developments your agency has approved. The land is suffering and so are the people. Concrete replaces soil and compliance replaces care. But here we remember it's our duty, our responsibility to be the stewards of the land, not just for ourselves, but for our children running barefoot through this forest and for their children too. We are not here to fight you. We are here to invite you to join us, because joining you would be the death of our world. Agent Holland scans the surroundings, notes cows grazing peacefully, volunteers layering mulch, a girl carrying a jar of honey. I'm going to have to we have to go. They're now coming in, and they're putting the soil into the new the new stuff. You made it, huh, Soap? Are you having a meal? Oh man, look at this! Isn't this fun? So the construction's almost over, and we are, well, I'm very thankful that all of this is happening, because for some reason, and I know what the reason is that I've surrendered everything that I used to think, all of the fear and all of the worries and all of the insanity. I've surrendered all that to the best of my ability to be present to the messages that are coming through. When I am in a state of concern or worry or fear, when you are in a state of worry or concern or fear or humiliation or pride or envy or gluttony or greed or lust or wrath or sloth, when you're in a state of being controlled by other than the grace of God, the presence of God, and awareness of this infinite energy system, right? It can be spoken from so many different perspectives, right? From a Tesla perspective, this is energy and frequency and vibration, right? From a biblical perspective, it's God. From a Quran perspective, it's Allah. From a Buddhist perspective, it's simply rising our awareness up to be the servants and the stewards again. To first, and this is so important, to build enough energy into our own spirits, our own awareness, right? How do we do that? How do we become enlivened again, inspirited, inspired, enthusiastic again, right? We let go of the programs. We step into faith and courage to the max, right? With every bit of our being and our awareness, we let go of fear and we step into faith, right? We stand together, starting as individuals, creating our own systems, right? Being the change that we want to see in the world. Being the change that we want to see in the world. How does that feel to you, right? How does it feel to feel inspired? How does it, I'm going to sit with that first. Let's ask that question right now in real time. Let's take a few deep breaths and ask yourself this question. How do I feel when I feel inspired? Maybe you haven't felt inspired for quite some time. Maybe you can't quite get there. Can you get to courage? Right? How do I feel when I feel courageous? Maybe you start with, how do I feel when I feel present? When I feel open-minded? When I feel love? Right? How do you feel when you feel respected and loved? Right? Start wherever you can start. And you'll know by how it feels. If you notice the energy, the frequency, the vibration of your spirit, your soul, you rising, if you notice you're more aware and more present, then you're on the right path, right? And how do we stay on the path? Keep asking yourself that question, right? It's not affirmations or statements of fact that will keep you on the path. It's new and creative questions, right? Affirmations are okay. Questions that lead to the reality of the affirmation that you desire are infinitely, exponentially more powerful, because questions, our brains are a lot like computers, right? When you ask a question, then our brains will search God's database for the answer to that question. And whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. How do I feel when I feel present and healthy and well? How do I feel when I feel inspired? Right? If I'm feeling maybe lustful, how do I feel when I feel loving? Right? If I'm feeling pride, how do I feel when I'm feeling of service? Right? All of these, like they call them the 7 deadly sins. What are they? Envy, lust, pride, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, or something. All of them are based in scarcity and trauma. And to overcome the trauma, we cannot search outside of us, because the trauma didn't happen outside of us, although we think it did. It happened in here. It is how we represented a pain, a suffering, a situation that happened in our perception outside of us. It's our representation of that was stored in the tissues of our bodies that we have not released. Some of you are releasing trauma right now. You don't have to go live the trauma. Dr. Wolfe talks about this very well. You don't have to go through all sorts of bullshit and belief system restructuring and all that, right? You can literally go into the stored tissue of your trauma using the practices like Wolfe Non-Surgical. Some people scream out in tears because they're releasing a massive amount of trauma. I know I did. It hurt like shit, but guess what? I can breathe better now. I can move better now. The pain is gone. The trauma is released. Right? This is real. As real as it gets anyway, in this illusion that we call life, this grand divine game, this game of life. Our goal and intention of this game is what? I know my intention is to enjoy the process of living free. We very publicly have declared that we are free. We do not pay taxes by the threat of force and violence on our land or our labor. We didn't ask for permission to build our family homestead. We cannot comply with those systems, because those systems, if we do comply with them, well, they are evil. Evil is just live backwards. If we're aware of that, then we can laugh at evil. We can go into the heart of the beast and we can grab a hold of that and give it some love. It's time right now, my friend. Fear nothing, right? Don't fear anything. Be aware. Awareness is the first step in change. The awareness of the possibility that we can rise above this evil insanity is the first step, right? And then through the awareness, we have more choices available to us. The word choice is most of the time inaccurate, right? The concept of choice implies the awareness of choice. Well, the fact of the matter is that everybody always chooses the best option that they're aware of relative to the situation at hand, right? Now, sometimes we instantly regret our choice and a new awareness comes to our mind, like if it's road rage, hitting the brakes and not giving somebody the finger might prove to be a better choice 99.9% of the time than not hitting the brakes and giving somebody the finger. right? But because of our trauma and our rage and whatever, our pride and everything else that happens in the moment, we become unaware of the better choice. Through presence, consciousness, the better choice is apparent to us. So like the 12 maidens, we've got to keep the candle of awareness, of consciousness burning, right? Which means presence. Every time that we step into any of those other emotions, this is key. And this is what I've been practicing. Actually, it's what I'm practicing right now. The amount of time that I've been practicing this is irrelevant. The depth of the practice now is the only thing that's relevant, right? So you don't need to practice this for a long time, right? Start now, practice this now, is noticing how you feel. The breath is a great tool for this. And when you start catching yourself feeling your stomach muscles tightening, or your heart contracting, or your throat, or your jaw, or your third eye, as soon as you start feeling yourself going like this, or going, or tightening your shoulders, or tightening your heart, or tightening your stomach, or tightening your sacrum, as soon as you feel yourself clenching up, take a breath. Let it go. When you get in the habit of that, then that habit will lead to enlightenment, which means light mente, which means a mind free of heavy mente or programming, deception. It's the ultimate simplicity. Just being there now, in the presence of the divine. And let it flow. Let go and let God. Let the energy, the frequency, the vibration, the wisdom, the all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent guide you. Be in the service. And that's one of my reasons why, right there. I love you. And have a great day, y'all. Ciao for now. See you next week or sooner. And by the way, we got multiple layers of strategy all coming together. Originsreclaim.org. If you haven't been there yet, go there. Say hi. This is the framework. We're donating everything to humanity. My family homestead is belongs to my family. Everything else is going back. We're reinvesting the surplus because it's the most selfish thing that I can imagine doing, because by doing so creates radical abundance and a future for our grandkids and beyond. Ciao for now.